Hey there, guys. This is Flamzeron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and I've been watching anime. What anime have I been watching? I've been watching that show called Erased that we actually watched in Anime Club. You'll have to excuse my lame intro. I never know how to start these things, but yeah, we watched Erased. We're technically actually still watching it, but um, we had a meeting on like a day when no one else was there, but like the people who had been like watching ahead were there, myself included. So we just watched the finale. We basically just watched the entire thing because I was actually watching ahead because it got really it really sort of piqued my interest, and so I decided to watch ahead. I don't remember the Japanese title, so I'm just gonna call it Erased. And I watched it on Crunchyroll when we were watching it in Anime Club. And for those wondering, yes, I am gonna review the show that we watched last semester. I don't remember a lot of it, so I'm having to like rewatch a couple of episodes just to kind of refresh myself. And for those who are wondering, it's the Seven Deadly Sins. That's the show we watched, and I'll go into more detail about that later on. But yeah, we watched Erased, and I'm gonna review it now. Basic plot about this guy named Satoru, who is he works at a pizza store, and he is an aspiring manga artist, and I missed a little bit of the beginning, so I don't know about some of the stuff that may have been explained early on, but he has this power where he can go back in time to like a point in his life when he was younger, and he does that. He's done that a couple of times, and but what ends up happening is that this killer comes in and kills his mom. He's framed for it, and he goes back in time to when he was in elementary school, where some of his friends were murdered by someone, and he's actually using this time to try to save the people who were killed. Which it kind of interesting how it starts off with like a bigger plot, but then it kind of goes to this. You could also take it as foreshadowing that that what happened in the future kind of came from this. Um, Especially from the standpoint of who the killer is, which I did actually spoil myself a little bit who the killer was because they gave a bit of a hint early on, and I'm like, wait a second, are they trying to say that this guy's the killer? So I looked it up, I'm like, oh yeah, he is. Um, Now I know the manga was also a little bit ahead. I was actually a little worried that they weren't going to tell the entire story in like 12 episodes, but they ended up being able to, so that was good. But yeah, basically Satoru, like, the episodes going forward are like him reliving his elementary school days while he's trying to save this girl named Kayo, who no, not King Kai. I'm probably the only person who's made that joke. No, it's not King Kai. He wouldn't need it. He wouldn't need Satoru's help. He'd just be like, I'm just going to do the Kayo-ken or whatever. I'm not very good at doing the English voice of King Kai. I guess that was okay, but yeah, he's trying to save this girl named Kaya who was killed. It's shown pretty early on that he kind of regrets it, or it's shown in flashbacks of the preceded past before he goes into the past, if that makes any sense. He seems to regret it. From my perspective, when I watched the first episode, it seemed like it didn't really affect him that much, and so but I do kind of like the idea of it kind of eating at him subconsciously, and him wanting to sort of like fix it, like wanting to like fix it deep in his mind. Like he didn't really let it bother him, but deep down it was like eating at him pretty badly. And because of that, the story drew me in a bit more because it made me sort of wanna. As a viewer, you want to see Satoru succeed, which he does. He doesn't do necessarily a perfect job of like hiding his intentions because he acts a bit differently than he did when he was a kid. Of course, because like he's 29 and he goes back in time, but he has like all the stuff that he remembered. He's like literally going back in time, so he has like all the knowledge and whatnot that he would have, that he had when he was older. And with this, he learns more about like Kayo's situation, how her mother was beating her, her and she would like come to school late with like a bunch of bruises, but she would wear like really nice clothes, like a white blouse and a pink sweater, which was actually kind of cute. But it seemed sort of dressy, I think, for like a elementary school. I don't know. That's just another girl wore like a blouse and sweater. So I guess that's, I don't know, maybe that's just the style there. But it was pretty cute. But like there'd be a scene of where like either Satoru or another character named Kenya would um they would notice like she has like a bruise on her back, or she would like drop a pencil and she would like go to pick it up, and then like uh there'd be like they would zoom in on like a bruise on like her leg or her arm or something. um and Satoru actually sees her like right after the beating, where she's like naked and like their storage thing outside. He's like, "Don't look at me." Um, but I think this might be slight Elise syndrome, and what I mean by that is the character Elise from Tales of Exilia really left an impression on me. It's kind of because you really get to see her sort of like brighten up and get really happy. There's even one scene where like she and Satoru are looking at this like tree, and it zooms in on her face from the side, and she gets like this really bright, sort of cheery look on her face. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And in the scene when like she and Kayo and Satoru's mom are taking a bath, and Satoru's mom starts tickling her and playing with her, and you hear her laughing, and even Satoru's all like, "Oh, that's really cool and shit," because she spends a night with them for a little bit. Um, and then like the next day, like she wakes up to see like this nice plate of breakfast, and they show like she starts getting emotional because like she sees that like, oh, her mom just makes her like top ramen, cup noodles basically. It's basically cup noodle, and she gets all emotional and shit. Um, but yeah, basically, Kayo does get saved, and she transfers to another school and starts living with her grandmother. And we get to see like near the end how she is as an adult, and she has a baby and such. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but then of course he starts focusing on after that point it felt a little less straining. I will admit, like during that part and the part where they're focusing on Kayo, it emotionally it was kind of hitting me a little bit. It was almost like Anohana a little bit. So and because of that, there's actually going to be another anime review that's going to be going up this week that I'll talk about because I had to watch it to kind of make me feel better, because I'm just like, oh, this show's kind of depressing a little bit, and it's kind of hitting me hard. I don't know. It might just be because I'm an uncle now, so I have a niece, and I don't know. But once he started focusing on his friend who looks like a fucking girl but is actually a guy, I think the big indication that I don't even remember the kid's name. That the kid is a boy is because he always says like, "That's gutsy," and it's like he uses like in the subtitles at least he uses like he kind of looks and sort of acts like a girl, but he says things that are kind of boyish, I think. And of course he's killed, and another student is killed. Like, and I feel like their viewpoint is that like the friend, because like this kid, I don't remember it's the dude who ends up becoming a doctor later on, and like it's the one that where like Satoru is all like, oh, the killer killed this person because he's a boy, and like it would throw them off or something. Like the one who always wears like the orange shirt with the jacket. I feel like I don't remember specifically what their plan was, but I feel like their general plan, Satoru's general plan was to just kind of hang out with them more. And Kenya wants a piece of the superhero action, like, I want to be a superhero. And then Satoru is all like, yeah, let's be superheroes. What's the what do you call it, the opposite of exaggerating? Like underplaying, I guess. It's the girl that they don't really know who goes to like a different school that they kind of have to worry about, I think. Or she's in like a different class. No, I think she goes to their school, but she's not really part of their group of friends. And it's when they start focusing on her that it's revealed who the killer is, and it ends up being their teacher. Yashiro is his first name. I don't remember his last name. It's like G something. Gataro or Gappa Duba Dabba Duba. I don't remember his name. But it's once like Satoru figures it out, and then like Yashiro tries to kill him. He starts calling him Yashiro. He's like, I know your future. And then Yashiro's like, what the fuck? How do you know my fucking future? I thought the way he sort of like weasels out Satoru, because he starts to suspect thing, and that's sort of like a big hint where he goes to talk to Yashiro, and he's like, oh, Satoru. And like he had like the register, because he's trying to figure out, I think, something about Kayo, like information about her. And in his mind, Yashiro's like, was it instinct? And like, and that's sort of like, he's like, wait a second. And of course, when he's leaving, it's a small detail, but if you look at Yashiro, they do that thing where like, you can't see their eyes because and their hair's covering, and they're kind of like they're looking down. It's like sort of like a shading thing. They do that, and I feel like that was also a bit of a visual hint. But they do show the killer in the future, but all they see shows like his red eyes and like glasses and like his hat. They just kind of they show you very little. I mean, I feel like he looked pretty different in both like both his past self and his future self. Like his past self actually kind of looks like, a good guy. Like I kept thinking Leo Iolio whenever I saw him, because he kind of had a similar sounding voice. Like he had sort of like that narrator like voice. Something like, is he gonna fucking do his or a plasma attack or whatever it's called? Is he gonna turn into a Gold Saint now? Then of course there's the Power Ranger references that they do occasionally. What else? I'm sort of skipping ahead with the part about how Satoru actually goes back into the future a little bit and starts doing some stuff there. And then he's able to force himself to go back into the past because it's been kind of random, and that was kind of cool. It's when he actually gets caught by the police, is when that happens, and then that's when he forces it, and then he's like, okay, I gotta fix stuff. Because at first he's able to sort of like change the date of when she dies, of when Kayo dies, but he's not actually able to save her. I don't remember completely everything. Even my memory of like the more recent stuff that we've watched, like the last episode, is a little foggy. But anyway, to go back to Yashiro, where he decides to single out Satoru, because he starts to suspect that Satoru might know something. I thought it was kind of funny how like they go to like this hockey game, and he put laxatives inside like the girl who was originally planning to kill's drink. I thought that was actually kind of funny, in sort of like a morbid way. Like of all the things, like no sleeping pills, where she starts getting tired, and then Yashiro is all like, oh, are you getting sleepy? Oh, I guess I better take you home then. Here, you can sleep in my car. That would have been obvious, but the laxative thing where she has to go take a doo-doo. Of course, actually, that probably wouldn't have worked, because if he's trying to single out Satoru, then making her fall asleep isn't going to do anything, because then it's like, okay, well, you're basically just setting yourself up to kill her, so. But he singles out Satoru, and he like stickies his seatbelt and like is gonna like drown his car by like putting a basketball on like the gas pedal to like drown him and shit. And when that happens, like Satoru is saved. They don't specifically show how. I don't know if in the manga they do, but he's saved, but he's in like a coma, and then he finally wakes up like a few years later, or not a few. I say a few, but it's like however many years until they get back to like the same general time frame. And whatnot. And then it's there that like he's trying to regain his memories and re-get his strength and whatnot. And even though it's sort of like a different one, like when he's in the past, whenever they do like his internal voice, it's the older actor, the guy who did like the 29-year-old voice doing like the inner thought. But then when he gets to this point where he's in the hospital with the coma, whenever they do the internal thought, they do the younger voice. And I actually found that kind of interesting, because like it is sort of like a different situation, because he's changed a lot of the future. So he is sort of like a different. It is kind of more like someone from the past has been transported to the future, and I thought that was kind of interesting. And as he's Kenya and the friend who and the friend who who looks like a fucking girl. They come visit him, and of course Kenya's all like a detective now, like I'm trying to catch the killer, dibba dabba deeba dooba. Um, I think I don't remember. Oh, I think what ends up happening is that it's from Satoru's perspective. Like it's more like he's trying to catch the, and I think at that point, Yashiro had killed like some other students. Like afterwards, I mean, obviously he's killed before as well. But and basically they end up catching him. Just to wrap it up, what gets Satoru's memories back is that he sees Kayo as an adult with a baby, and that's sort of what sparks his memories to come back. And after that, he and Yashiro have sort of like this what's the word? Like they chat and shit. And Satoru, like they have this like pretty big elaborate plan. He sort of dresses down Yashiro, not actually, like they don't bang or anything, but like he sort of like dresses him down as like, you can't kill me because you need me. It's like and basically like with the help of Kenya, the other friend, and this friend of Satoru's mom, who worked with her back when she was a journalist or whatever. Because he also sees him in the future, or Satoru meets with him, and he shares with Satoru his notes, like his list of suspects and stuff. I think Yashiro was on the list, if I remember. I don't remember. He might have been on the list. I don't remember. I think he might not have been on the list. It would have been interesting if he was on the list, because it would have been that thing where it's like they show you multiple people and one of them happens to be the one who is actually the true killer. In the episode after, they reveal that Yashiro is the killer. They kind of go in his mind a little bit. And it's like, my friend had all these names, she didn't want him anymore, and so I dumped them and so I could drown him. But this one hamster stood up. And I don't know, it's kind of, I might have to I would have to watch it again to really get into his. I didn't entirely understand, but like something about like testing about I don't know, he's weird. That's the core here, that Yashiro's a weirdo freak and he likes killing people. And I suspect that he, on some level, may have wanted to see someone. I think he might like the struggle and sort of like the will to live. That might, and they keep showing that he sees like the line above their heads or something. I don't know. I don't entirely understand Yashiro's like thought process. He's probably the one character I don't entirely understand. There's some stuff I don't really understand. To kind of get to the review part where they reveal sort of why Kayo's mom had been like beating Kayo, and it was shown in flashback where like, oh, she had an abusive husband. Kayo tried to protect her. I think what sort of I think it might have been the grandmother didn't approve of the first husband, and if I'm remembering correctly, I might be getting this wrong, but and then like the mom was all like, I'm breaking up with you or whatever, or we're getting divorced, and I think that's when the violence started. That's what I suspect. I might be messing something up, but then afterward, like the mom, she gets violent and starts beating Kayo, and it made sense to me kind of why she would feel that way. She was probably frustrated that like her life was sort of, it was the typical like parental story trope thing where it's like, it's not necessarily Kayo's fault, I feel, but it's more like she's just sort of the outlet that Kayo's mom is taking out her anger on. She regrets stuff, and she like breaks down like, I'm sorry. One thing I kind of didn't like with that though is when they show Kayo, like she's looking away, and Satoru is all like, oh yeah, even Kayo is like, sees it, sort of doesn't like seeing her pity herself. I didn't really like that because I felt like it was, from my perspective, ultimately it seemed like they were trying to discount the reason for why Kayo's mom was the way she was, and I felt like if they were going to discount it, then what's the point of showing it? Like, what's the point of giving us that information if you're going to later say, oh, it's she's just a shitty person. Don't think about that. Because with writing, you can show sort of like the truth behind things and sort of like give little hints on what you what your goal for the audience's reaction to be based on how the other characters react. You can do that. Um, I Another way you could maybe look at it is that like maybe Kaio just sees it as sort of like just sort of being ridiculous and sort of self-pity, which I think would make sense because Kaio probably doesn't understand why her mother was beating her. She probably doesn't understand. Or if she does understand, she probably doesn't want to understand or doesn't want to believe it or something. I don't know. But it was pretty interesting. I thought it was kind of funny how like when they finally catch Yashiro like near the end on like the last episode, he starts laughing after, because what ends up happening is that like Satoru like does this thing where like he's about to like make himself fall off a building because he's in a wheelchair, and like Yashiro grabs it and he's all like, "You can't kill me because you need me." And then like, but like Yashiro like lets go, and you don't see kind of what happens, and then like he looks, but then like they show that like he actually that like his mom and Kenya and probably some other people had had like this blanket thing and caught Satoru with it, and then like the journalist friend of his mom has like a camera and whatnot. Originally, Satoru's plan was to have his cell phone open and like the recording and whatnot, but Yashiro finds out and like destroys it. I think he destroys it, or either that, or he deletes it, or he ends the call, and I think he like he's like, "I'm gonna send your mama a text before you die," or something like that. I think that was probably just set up as like a fault to like mislead Yashiro. That's probably what it was. But and I thought it was kind of funny because he was laughing, because I'm just like, yeah, that actually is pretty funny. It's like I even said like out loud, I think I like how he's actually laughing at it too. He's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're done. And so yeah, he gets caught, and Yashiro becomes Yashiro, he becomes a prisoner is what he becomes. And I keep wanting to say Yashiro. I think it's because it's a cool sounding name. Let's see. Satoru is what Satoru becomes the manga artist that he wants to be, and he gets a anime adaptation and a movie and shit. And he's enjoying himself and shit. I liked one thing that they did where they actually show him going back to the spot where he last was when he used his like powers to go back in time one last time. It was under like this little bridge thing where he meets with his worker friend Irie, who's a high school student. They actually meet up again, and I kind of like that because every time like I kept thinking like, yeah, it's good he's gonna like because I was thinking like, and from my perspective, yeah, I'd be really happy if I saved the lives of 3 people by going into the past and preventing their deaths. But at the same time, I would also kind of miss the people that I knew that I would no longer know because I changed the future. And he even gets he starts crying a little bit as well. It's like their first time meeting, and I think it just kind of it's sort of like a coming full circle kind of thing. I think from his perspective, or he also probably liked Irie a little bit as well, and I think also it just kind of made him happy that he got to meet his friend again. Because I know I would miss the people I would meet in the future. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The music was nice. The ending theme I thought was pretty was pretty fitting. I don't know who sung it, but it sounded like a child singing it. The opening theme by Asian Kung Fu Generation, which in spelling it's called RE:RE. I think it's meant to be pronounced reply because that's what it is. Sort of like the idea of like a revisitation, I think. But it's been a while since I've heard Asian Kung Fu Generation. You know, I knew about them from like the Full Metal Alchemist days and the Naruto days. And it was kind of cool to hear them do this song. And I heard they're actually doing the new opening for Naruto Shippuden. I don't know why I decided to pronounce it Naruto Shippuden. They're doing the theme song for that, so that's cool. And it was cool to hear them do a song. I actually really liked the song. And the opening was nice as well. I liked how like the episode after they reveal Yashiro as the killer and he tries to like drown Satoru. because from the viewer's perspective, if you haven't been reading the manga or reading ahead, you don't know if he's alive or not. In the intro, they don't show him. They don't show Satoru when he actually shows up in the opening a fair amount. And it was kind of cool because they show the exact same opening, but Satoru's not there. And I found that to be kind of interesting. And there'd be like scenes that are specifically to show him, like the window, and like he's looking out the window, and it just shows a window, nothing else. And it's like, that's funny. One thing that I thought was kind of cool was like where they show like the title of the song is like it shows all like that all those like films like circling around stuff, and they had like a silhouette of Satoru doing like stuff. I thought that was kind of cool how like they took him out because it actually looked kind of cool on its own. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say. I actually really enjoyed it. The early stuff where he's trying to basically everything involving Kayo was very sort of interesting to watch because I really wanted to see her saved. Because once I learned her story, I felt like legit. That's why I called it. It was sort of like an Elise syndrome because I felt so fucking bad for her, and I'm just like, please let her be all right. And so like I was kind of into the story more than I probably should be. And it's like after it's like, oh, it's like okay. I was able to relax a little bit more, and seeing her alive was also pretty cool. I was expecting it to have more of like an Exilia 2 reaction, where like I see her and I'm just like, holy fuck, that's awesome. You're doing so good. I'm glad. It's almost like you see someone, a friend who's been struggling and whatnot, and you see them like, oh, I'm so glad that you're doing well. You know, it's one of those kind of things. But I really liked it, and I'd recommend it if any of you guys want to watch it. It's a very good show. I think the manga is getting a spinoff that's going to focus on Satoru as a manga artist, which I think would be interesting to see. The manga is over. I don't know if there's any plans for a continuation. I know, and I think there's also a live action movie that either came out or is going to come out. I don't know any word about the manga coming out in English, but yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, you should definitely watch it if you're interested in that kind of thing. And I guess that'll bring us to a close here. So thanks for watching. There'll be another anime review and whatnot. There won't be another Crooked Man episode for a little bit. I'll have to, because I have a wedding to go to. But anyway, this is Flames. We're on aka YouTube Sasuke signing out. See you later.